Well, today we're going to be doing a review on an optic that I've been wanting to get on the channel for a long time. And I just had a brand new rifle come into the channel that this optic is going to be perfect on. So today we're going to be checking out the Vector Optics Frenzy Plus 1x31x26 solar. We're over on the other bench, and we are going to go over all the specs and features of our Vector Optics Frenzy Solar. Now I'm going to bring a picture up on the screen and show you everything that comes in the box, and you can pause it and check it out. Now our optic has an overall length of 3.82 inches. The width on this is 1.61 inches, and the height on this is 2.44 inches. And this optic is pretty heavy. It weighs in at 10.5 ounces. Now this has a really nice size window on it. It is 26 by 31 millimeters. Now the housing on this is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. And the mount on this is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. And this optic should be pretty rugged because as you can see, they have a cage all the way around this optic. And if this optic were to take a pretty serious hit, as you can see, there is a gap all the way around the protective cage and the optic itself. And they did put a cutout in the top of the cage for the solar. And we will be testing this solar out later on in the video. Now, being that this is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum, it does have an IP67 waterproof rating. And this optic is shockproof up to 800 Gs. Now I've got the optic turned on. I do have the dot turned all the way up, and it is very bright. I am getting a little bit of starbursting, but that's not the fault of the optic. It's because I have astigmatism. But even here in the studio, it's pretty clean. And once I get it outdoors to the range, it'll look even better. Now this optic has a couple unique features to it. First off, this does not run on your typical CR2032 battery like a lot of other optics. This actually runs onto AAA batteries. And you will install your batteries right here. You can turn these by hand, loosen them up, or you have a slot for a flathead screwdriver. And you do not have to worry about losing the battery cap because they are captured. And here's your AAA battery. And if you look here on the back of the optic, it says negative here and positive on this side. And these caps are O-ring sealed. Now this does have 11 brightness settings. You got 9 daytime settings and 2 NV. If you want to adjust your brightness up, you use this button right here. It has an arrow facing up. And to decrease the brightness, you're going to use this button here with the down arrow. Now another unique feature on this is you can manually tap the button to go down into your NV settings. But if you've got this optic turned all the way up and you want to go into that NV setting really quick, that's what this button's for. You'll hold this down, takes about 3 seconds, and it will switch to night vision mode. And when you want to get out of the night vision setting, you're just going to hold that button again for 3 seconds. And the buttons are nice, tactile, and audible. They work really well. Now, this does come with a quick detach mount. It's already mounted on the optic right out of the box. You're going to pull this lever back and flip this forward. And then you can mount this on any 1913 rail. Another thing that I like that they did, instead of just running a round bolt through here, they actually squared this off, and this is going to act as a recoil lug. If you need to loosen this up a little bit or get it a little tighter, you're just going to push like that, and you have a little dial right here. You can tighten and loosen your fitment. Now this optic does have shake awake. We will be testing that out later on in the video. And this does have a max battery life of 50,000 hours, but obviously that's going to be on the lowest setting. All right, we got our fancy vector optics tool, and what I like to do in every one of these optic review videos is test the windage and elevation to see how tactile and audible they are. Now your elevation adjustment is right here. It's got the arrow pointing down that says up, and your windage is right beside it. You got your R with your arrow pointing down. All right, we're going to test the elevation first. Oh, very nice. Tactile, audible. You can feel each stop between each click. Let's test the windage. The windage definitely is more audible than the elevation, but the clicks are really nice on both of them. Now, one of the really nice things about this optic is that instead of being 1 MOA per click, they are half MOA per click. And you have 190 MOA of total adjustment on your elevation and 200 MOA of total adjustment on your windage. And the version that I have is just the 3 MOA Red Dot. They also have a multi-reticle version of this with a dot and a circle, or just the circle, or just the dot. I don't really care about multi-reticles, so I just had them send out the 3 MOA dot version. But one nice thing with this optic, the price on this is really good. We're looking at $199, and if you want to upgrade to the multi-reticle version, it only goes up to $209, and you're also getting Vector Optics lifetime warranty. Now the rifle I'm using to review this optic is the One Horse Express. And this is one of the most popular AR-15s on the market right now, due to the fact that this comes straight from the factory with an Atrius Development FRS in it. And 400 out of the 600 rounds I used in this review were ran through this rifle in FRS mode. And if you want to learn more about this rifle, I've got a full unboxing video out on this and a full review video, and I will link those down in the description below and at the end of this video. Now, I'm a big fan of these big window optics, and I've done quite a few reviews here lately on optics like this. I did a review on the Gideon Optics Mediator XL, the Griffin Armament optic that pretty much looks just like the Gideon, and the most recent review I did was on the Viridian MDS 35. But when you got a big window optic like this on a rifle, it's super easy to transition from target to target. Now, in the unboxing portion of the video, we talked about how the optic was starbursting a little bit, but that tends to clear up for me a little bit once I get it outdoors to the range, and this did clear up quite a bit. I'm getting just the slightest starbursting, but it's very minimal, even with the dot turned all the way up. Now this dot, even outdoors at the range, is plenty bright. I turned it all the way up to the highest setting, and then I turned it down 2 clicks, and that was perfect for the conditions I was shooting in. The next thing that I was quite impressed with was the glass quality on this. It's really nice, clear glass. And I'm not really seeing any blue tint or any kind of tint at all on this glass like I do with some other optics. And the other thing that really impressed me with the glass is sometimes when you've got a big window optic like this, you will get some glare either up in the top left or the top right of the optic, and I was not getting that with this. I think one thing that's really helping with that is the window sits back pretty far into the housing, and you got quite a bit of protection over the top. And then you add the protective cage on this, that even extends that a little further forward. But I was quite impressed over the course of the whole day that I was not getting that glare like I get with some of these bigger window optics. Now, I've done a little more research on this optic since I did the unboxing portion of this video, and I did tell you that this comes in a multi-reticle version, and it does. But after digging in a little deeper, I did find out if you decide to go with the multi-reticle version, you're not going to get the solar. So if you want just a 3 MOA Red Dot, like I do, I don't care about multi-reticle, then you can go with this optic and get that solar backup. But if you want the multi-reticle, you're going to lose the solar backup. And I know the next question is going to be, does the solar work? Well, check this out. All right, now we're going to test the solar function on this optic. I do have the battery out, and as you can see, the optic is off. I've got my Phoenix light here. We're just going to turn this on low, and we're going to put it right above the optic. Right there, it's on, off, and back on. Solar works great. Well, as you can see, the solar worked exactly the way it should. And I did pop the battery out at the range just to see if it would still work in the sunlight, and it does. And not only does this optic have solar, but it also has shake awake. And I wanted to wait to test that till I got home. I think it's a better test after you get a bunch of rounds racked up on the optic. And I'm happy to report that the shake awake works just fine. Now, one thing I did notice with the shake awake, it is not as responsive as a lot of the pistol dots that I test on the channel. I just barely tap them and they come right back on. This one, it's not that sensitive. If I lightly tap on it, it will not turn on. But if you got this sitting in the safe, on the back seat of your truck, or it's in a case, you name it, when you grab the gun and pick it up, it turns on right away. I never once over the course of the 2 days filming this review at the range had this optic turn off and not turn back on. Every time I picked up the rifle, got it out of the truck, the optic was on. So the shake awake on this, you're good to go. So let's get into the pros and cons of the Vector Optics Frenzy Solar. And we're going to hit the cons first. And the reason for that is because I'm really having to reach to find a con about this optic. My first con is going to be, I really want them to come out with a green dot version of this optic. I really like this optic. In fact, I want to get a couple more, especially at that $199 price tag. So I really want to see a green dot version of this. And my second con, not for me, but for a lot of people, if they want to go with the multi-reticle version of this, well, you're not going to get the solar backup. Like I said, I could care less about multi-reticle, but a lot of people like it, and they would love to have the multi-reticle with the solar backup. But really, that's the only cons I have with this optic. Now, when it comes to pros, I got a lot of pros when it comes to this. The first pro is that price tag, $199. Other optics this size and with these features, they're almost double what this cost. All those other optics that I was talking about earlier that I reviewed, they're all somewhere between $350 and $400. And honestly, this optic performs just as well as those other 3 big window optics I've reviewed. The next pro with this is the quick detach mount. I really like how they put that recoil lug on the bolt. I really like the system to tighten this up. It works really well. The only downside to it would be if you want this optic to sit higher on your rifle, PCC, whatever you decide to put this on, well, you're kind of stuck with this mount. It works perfect on this setup, but I know some people are going to complain that it doesn't come with a higher mount. The next pro with this is the protective cage, and I am going to apologize. I did not do the hammer test where I beat on the optic at the range. And I'm just going to be honest, I forgot. I was having so much fun running this Express in FRS mode, I just didn't do it. But this optic did get a workout. Like I said, I ran 600 rounds through this rifle, 400 of those in that FRS mode, and the optic held up just fine. It's still rock solid, so I'm not too worried about the durability of this optic, especially with the amount of Vector optics I've reviewed on this channel, and I have yet to have one fail. And even if it does, well, you're protected by that lifetime warranty. The next pro with this, the batteries. They're very easy to swap out. You can buy AAA batteries anywhere. You're probably not going to be so lucky if this was running on a CR2032. Now granted, you should always carry backup batteries in your range bag, especially with the popularity of optics nowadays. But when it comes to AAA batteries, you can find them anywhere. My next pro with this, the buttons. They're very tactile and audible, and they are recessed in, and then with the cage around this, it even gives it more protection. You're definitely not going to accidentally bump these buttons and adjust your brightness up or down or shut the optic off. And that MV button, that's pretty cool. I don't have nods. I don't do that much shooting at night, and I definitely don't shoot under NV. But for the guys that do that, it's pretty cool that you can just hold that button and put this optic right into night vision mode. So the question is, do I recommend this optic? Absolutely. I think with all the features and the price point, it's really hard to beat. And I really want to thank Vector Optics for sending this out to the channel. Now just get me a green dot version. But I got a couple other rifles coming into the channel, and I like this one so much, I'm definitely going to pick up another one, maybe two, and I'm going to buy them with my own money because it's a pretty awesome optic. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.